morning, YouTube. Good morning. This is King Gio in the house. As you can see, this is the Condado Plaza Hotel Hilton in San Juan, Puerto Rico. You see over there, you see the cruise ship. That right there, what you see right here, that's called the Laguna. Right? This hotel, what you hear, is this one right here. This one is connected to that one. On this side, you see the street, as you can see. That's the Laguna right there. Right? And the other side of this building is the beach. You can see right there. Right? Weird, right? Laguna here and beach there. This is not the best hotel to stay in. I mean, it looks nice, but it's not structurally right. I mean, I was in this hotel in 2006 when I was a supervisor here, and it looked better. It was better before they even did the models. This building is called Miami Building. That's been there for over 30 years. They're like little co-ops, so you can buy little condos. People over there on that side, they do kayak. Today's my last day here. I have to go back home. Things that I wanted to accomplish as far as seeing my brother, I have done. My brother was buried yesterday, unfortunately, but there are still some unanswered questions that needs to be answered. I'm going to go into details a little bit about it. This is his hat, so it's infamous, as you can tell. But there are some answers that needs to be there are some answers that there's some questions that need to be answered. And it's the lack of security. It's the lack of how can you're in a program, and how is it that in that program drugs were taken into that facility. And we are all aware that nothing is 100% proved. But when you go into a program like this, most of these programs here in Puerto Rico are run by ex-cons. Most of these programs are run by people who have been in jail. Most of these programs have been run by people who have been in the system, so they should know the ins and outs of how drugs can get inside a facility. And yet, drugs were introduced into this facility, and yet my brother passed away because of that. And the irony is that my brother is in a program which is supposed to help him for abuse. And my brother was getting help, but when you're weak in mind and you don't, and that's what you constantly be thinking about. And my brother never got over the hump of drug use. He's been doing it for 20 years. And I've always told him how to stop. I told him go with you to Narcotics Anonymous. I mean, stop for a while. But the very important thing here is that the people, places, and things, and that's very important for you to think that Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous is a joke. It's not a joke. When they tell you stay away from people, places, and things, they literally mean to stay away from people, places, and things, because those are the things that are going to make you relapse. Those are the things that are going to trigger you. And I was fortunate enough that I didn't. I'm not gonna say I'm fortunate enough, but I didn't go to rehab. I didn't go to AA or NA. Well, in my case, NA. I mean AA, because that's not for me. Everyone has a preference. That just wasn't for me. But there are a lot of people that need that kind of group therapy, that they can hear how other people have struggled. That when you are struggling, you can call a partner, you can call your sponsorship, and let them know what you're going through. So then the sponsorship or a sponsored person can help you cope with that moment of disability. You know what I'm saying? That moment of, I want to use today, something's happened, I want to use, And my brother never got over that. And while being in the program, he got in contact with one gentleman that was from the past, and that's when it all started. And that's it, and that's all she wrote. I'm gonna do a more elaborate video because I want justice. I could sue the shit out of them for monetary gain. But I'm not going to do that. What I want here is justice. Not justice for my brother. I mean, justice for my brother, but justice for those people who have gone through the same thing, through the same pain of losing a child in a drug program, and to make sure that these programs are run strictly, by the book. Like if it was a prison, if you go outside to the yard, you come back in, you get searched. You can't be outside the yard by yourself. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but they don't care because they're being funded by the state. They still get money, they still get paid. They don't give a fuck. And that needs to stop. That really needs to stop. See, look how bad this is. Look at that. You pay $200 some a day for this. But these things need to stop, and the government's not going to do anything because they don't care. Ex-cons not doing anything. In Puerto Rico is a place where you go to rehab. They got TV, they got kitchens. You do things, but you can rehabilitate yourself. And it's a good place, but it's run poorly. It really is. It's run poorly. As you can tell, it's run poorly because my brother passed away. When I tell you, and you see for yourself, you're gonna say, "Wow, this is incredible." But I don't want to elaborate here because I'm about to leave. I'm about to go to my mom's house. I have to take care of my parents. My parents was devastated. My father, especially, touched my heart. My father was devastated yesterday, burying my brother. And my mother took it a little bit easier. She was like, I did that best that I could. But when you see a 41-year-old clean cut, he just turned 41 a month ago. And he was doing good. He was doing good. His downfall was a girl that he met. With that, she was his downfall, and he couldn't get away from her. And that to be honest with you, that was his downfall. If he wouldn't have left her, he would have been. She'd still be here. But we're not gonna go what he could have done because that's the past, right? Now we can't do anything. Now we can't go back and say, if he did this, if he did that. So now, what I'm focused is what I can do now. What I can do to make sure that other men and women who go to these type of programs don't suffer the same fate that my brother and others have suffered. There is no reason why that any drug should be introduced into a drug program. You can see it from a correctional facility programs. That's always happened. Either inmates going in, inmates visitation, correctional officers do it themselves. But a drug program, you can see it too in a drug program too, but it's less prevalent because it'll catch the attention of the people. But apparently, it's not happening. It's not catching the attention of the people, and that's what I want to do. I want to catch the attention of the people. This needs to stop. Puerto Rico, the government of Puerto Rico, and the people outside Puerto Rico. When I do my story, hopefully it catches someone and we can go together on this crusade to make sure that legislation, make sure that the Senate here in Puerto Rico changes the rules on how these groups or how these programs are run. They should be run as a prison style, meaning that if you go outside the yard, you come back in, you get checked. Meaning that there has to be 2 or 3 people outside the yard and the rec yard checking to make sure that nothing happens, to make sure that no drugs coming into the fence, no drugs being thrown through the fence, nobody that is not supposed to be there is there. These little lack of security of things, those needs to be a gap in there, and someone needs to be held responsible. That man that took the drugs over to my brother, even though my brother's old enough, my brother's a man, he has to decide for himself, and everybody has to decide for himself. But that person who took that drug to him also should be held accountable in some way, shape, or form. So thank you guys. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. I can't say much. Just enjoy the view, enjoy the sky. This is the balcony of the Condado Plaza Hilton. Subscribe, guys.